Hello, RAP students. This is Dr. Smith here today to talk about multiplying fractions. We're going to do a short lesson on this, so let's go ahead and get started, all right? Now, if you would like to do these problems, if you think that you might be able to solve these problems without me, if you want to do them by yourself, go ahead, and this is a great time to pause your screen and do that. All right, let's start with problem one. So multiplying fractions. For the people that have not done this yet, maybe you're saying, okay, this is not where my grade level is yet, but I want to try it. I'm going to give a little bit more instruction than I would for people that have already gone through this. So how you multiply fractions. The top numbers, the numerators, is as simple as multiplying the top numbers and then multiplying the bottom numbers, okay? So let's get started. 1 times 1 is 1, and 4 times 3 is 12. So our answer would be 112. Now, let me just say, you need to make sure you're really good at your math facts when you're doing multiplying fractions, okay? Because you're going to need to be able to get through these kind of quickly. If you've already done some of this in your class, I expect you to go through them with a decent amount of speed, okay? Let's move to number 2. 8 times 1 is 8. And 9 times 3 is 24. All right. So your answer is, I always like to find a way to really point out what the answer is. You can circle it, you can square it, whatever you want to do. I think teachers really love that, so they don't have to search for everything. 6 times 3 is 18. And 7 times 5 is 35. So our answer is 18 over 35. All right? So always remember, with your answer, you can make sure that it cannot be reduced, because more than likely your math teacher is going to want you to be able to reduce it without them saying you need to, okay? You should always make that a habit of trying to reduce any answers to the simplest fraction, okay? Next, number 4. 4 times 4 is 16, and 9 times 7 is 63. That's your answer. Your teacher will be very happy if you follow what I just did here, okay? Made it very clear what the answer was. And also reducing the fraction, okay? And the last one. So hopefully you've gotten the hang of this so far. 11 times 1 is 11. And 12 times 4, if you can't do this in your head, this is where you should practice your math facts and doing multiplication a little bit more in your head. Well, some people like the calculator. I like to use my brain. So 12 times 4, we can do it to the side here. If you like, 2 times 4 is 8. And 4 times 1 is 4. And that would be 48. Okay? Now, the bottom ones. I'm telling you this, but your teacher won't tell you on a test or when you're doing your work necessarily. I want you to reduce these if you can. I probably just should have seen if you guys would do it before I mentioned it, but I'm helping you out today. So 3 times 4 is 12. And 7 times 9 is 63. All right, on to number 2. 1 times 4 is 4, and 2 times 5 is 10. This is going to be my answer, but I want you all to check to see if there is a way that you can simplify this fraction, okay? All right? Remember, every time you use fractions, make sure that you've gotten it to its simplest fraction, okay? And last but definitely not least, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you a better way to do this that we didn't do with 1 and number 2, okay? I don't know if you saw it, but I'm going to show you we have bigger numbers. We are going to reduce this and so that you don't have to do so much to the answer, okay? Now, when you reduce fractions dealing with multiplication, you have to do it diagonally, like this. Because whatever you do to the top, you have to do to the bottom, but it works well when you do it diagonally, okay? So you can simplify 10 and 25. They both go into 5. So if you divide this one by 5 and this one by 5, this one will end up being, how many times does 5 go into 10? 2 times. How many times does 5 go into 25? This will be 5 times, okay? Now, let's see if we can do the same on this side. We can, if we do it this way, right? Because 11 goes into 22 2 times. So we're going to just reduce this. We're going to make this 1 and make this 2 because we divided by 11 here and we divided by 11 here. So now we're going to do a clean version of what we just did here. So it's going to be 2, because that's the number that it was reduced to 2, and 1 times, up here, this was reduced to 2, and 5. See how it's important to make sure you get a clean version of your work, so that the final work that you've done so far, so that you don't get confused. Now, this looks so much better here. So we can solve this. And 2 times 2 is 4. And 1 times 5 is 5. I like that number better. It's a lot simpler, and we don't have to do it in the back end after we've gone through all the math for this, 22 times 11 and all that stuff. So that is the answer to number 3. Now, what I can do is go back, and if you would like to compare, I'll do number 1 for you the way that I did here so we can compare the answers, okay? So if we reduce the answers diagonally, or the numbers diagonally, 3 and 9 have a common factor of 3. So we'll divide by 3, which will give us here a 1. And if we divide this one by 3, it will give us the number 3. Because 9 divided by 3 is 3. Okay? And there is nothing that we can find in common with 4 and 7. So we'll do a clean version of this, which I'm about to mess it up. Let's get it right. It's 1. 1 is the number. And 7 times 4 and 3. And that looks a lot better, right? So let's go ahead and just solve. 1 times 4 is 4. And then 7 times 3 is 21. Doesn't that look like a better answer, better version than this one here? A bit simpler. because you would have had to reduce this one, possibly, okay? So this is what you can do to come up with your simpler answer, is you can cross simplify this number and do the same the other way. And then once you get your clean version, you can just go ahead and multiply. All right? So make sure that you get some practice in with that. If you're a little confused, definitely go back through this, and you can even try number 2. If you need to get some help, definitely talk to your teachers and your RAP families for some help. And of course, as I always say, it's important to exercise your mind as well as your body. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
Please be sure to like, subscribe and share this video. It helps us reach more people who could use our help.